On this episode of Travels with Bill, we're in Regina, Saskatchewan at the 54th Annual Majestics Car Show. We'll give you a peek at a bunch of the cars and their owners, plus I'll share how you can find out even more about some of these amazing works of art. Plus, there's some Lego ahead, so stick around. The Majestics Show is all indoors, and it's huge. If you're talking about the car show in Regina each year, this is the one. It features over 200 cars, plus exhibits, food, and entertainment. It has something for everyone, including the kids. This year, the president of the car club is Mark Bernard.
I'm Mark Bernard. What do? I am actually an electrician, but I'm the president of the Majestics Car Club. Majestics Car Club is a local car club here in Regina. We put on, obviously, this car show. We are at the 54th annual car show here. And we are basically just give back to the community. Everything that we can do, we try to do. I've been a part of this club for 10 years now, and hope to be still doing this in another 30. So, I definitely would say that we have grown exponentially. We started out from the stories I hear from all the older members that, we had 50 cars in the first show. This year we're well over 200. So,
how's that compared to pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, honestly, I don't think much changed. So ever since having the 2 years off here, we have over 180 new cars in the show that have never been shown before. So there's very little repeats. My car here, this is a 1940 Pontiac. Took me about 6 months to build it from start to finish. Other than that, just show it, get it out of the way, and then start driving it.
So you're at a show like this, what's your favorite part?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Honestly, the setup, the people, mingling with everybody, seeing the smile on kids' faces, and of course mini donuts. Who can go wrong with the mini donuts?
How many people do you expect to walk through the front door?
Oh, some years we're over 10,000, so I'm hoping for a really good turnout this year, especially being off for 2 years, but let's hope for the best.
Mark is pretty typical of car club members. Most of them have a car, or 2 or 3 of their own, and many are showing them today. But there are cars here from all over Canada. Each one has its own story and an owner who's super proud of what they've accomplished. Many of these cars haven't yet been driven on a road since being restored, but many of them will be driven this summer, albeit very carefully, for cruise nights, to other shows, and to show off to friends and family. Part of the reason I'm here at the car show is this guy. That's Uncle Mark from his Do-It-Yourself Auto channel on YouTube. Cars are his thing. I'm running a camera today for him. He'll be posting much more in-depth videos of what you're seeing on this episode. I'll post a link to his channel in the description. We're watching him filming, so you can get an idea of how these videos come together. Many of the people who exhibit at a car show stay around their car most of the day to show it off and answer questions. For them, having people see the car is one of the best parts of owning it. They want to see you taking photos and asking all about it. This one's owned by Joe Frank.
We did a lot of repair work, we did all the brakes, put a power brake system on it, we put a 4-barrel carburetor on it, new rad. The rear end was redone. Just went right through it and did everything it needed to have.
This car was bought restored, but then Joe did more work to it. It's not his only car either. He happily showed us photos of a couple others he has at home. He drives them all, but as he says, never on gravel. If you've never been to a big car show, you've been missing out. Sometimes the cars are displayed in ways you can only just imagine. Take, for example, this one. It was inspired by a 1932 four-door that the owner grew up with. Their family drove it everywhere, including 3 trips to California. The original was the car of the year in 1981 and was built by Ernie Welta. His son made this one because he always wanted one of his own. It's certainly not just cars here either. You'll find lots of motorcycles at the Majestic Car Show. This is a 1938-1939 Harley-Davidson U-model bike. It was rebuilt by Mike. He lives in Regina.
When I bought it, I didn't even see the motor.
Okay.
It was in the shop getting rebuilt. The guy says, well, if you want the motor, you're going to have to pay to get it out of the shop.
Okay.
So I did. But no, we completely rebuilt, split the cases right up, did all kinds of machining on the cases. There was cracks and welding. The motor mount was right off it. You know, it was rough.
Yeah.
They had used a monkey wrench to take the spark plugs out, so they knocked every fin off both heads. So I had to have all those welded on. And quite a lot of work. But when I first built it, it was just a full-blown chopper.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 70s, that was the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, now they want it back to...
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Now
Which
I
that's
do, too.
Yeah.
You
well,
know,
yeah.
I mean, I guess my only regret is I put too much chrome on it. But back in the day, that was the way, eh?
Certainly, there would be plenty of folks that would argue there's no such thing as too much chrome on either a bike or a vehicle. Imagine for a moment starting out with just a beat-up old motorcycle and ending up with something that looks like this. Mike tells us he just finished the build and it doesn't even have fluids in it yet, but it will soon, and then off it goes. This one came all the way from BC. It's owned by Merle Mitchell, and there's nothing on this car that hasn't been changed. It's completely rebuilt and reimagined while still using parts from its original shape.
And then the interior was totally custom made because these cars didn't have a back seat. They were basically made for a businessman to carry all his stuff in. So I have a guy, a friend of mine that is a good fiberglass guy, so he made the panels for the upholstery guy. So it took him like over 40 hours just to make those panels. And the seats inside it are out of a two-door convertible Audi, what we hadn't totally changed. And then I made them so they operate electrically, which they didn't in there. The engine in it is a Boss 302. Ford made and reproduced the Boss block, and they're selling it again. So it's a different kind of block. It's one that's easily bored out. So we bored and stroked it to 338 cubic inches, and on the dyno it put out 400 horsepower. The other thing I wanted to do was hide all the wiring and all the stuff. You won't find the wire anywhere. Even the spark plug wires are hidden. They're in a nice stainless steel tube. And the coils are under the passenger seat. All the computers to run the car under the driver's seat. And all the fuse panel and all that is under the back seat. So there was didn't want anything hanging off. And even the master cylinder is a special electric one that is underneath the dash. So you don't see anything on the front here. So it took about 8 years to put it together.
8 years to put it together? A build like this is fully documented, and Merle is happy to show the photos as it happened. He carries the photo album with him just for that.
Changing the fenders. Same thing with the hood. We took it all in.
Merle didn't do all the work by himself. He had help. His sidekick's a little shy, but he's also from BC, and as he tells us, the car has been everywhere already.
Yeah, we just started showing it, and then went to Pomona and did well there, and then set up at Boise, and then COVID hit, and it sat for 2 years. Now we're back on tour, and we went back to Boise and did well, and a couple weeks ago went to Spokane.
It's a labor of love, though Merle says he has the same worry as many car owners. Like he says, car owners worry they will die suddenly, and once they're gone, their wife may sell the car for what they said they spent on it. He'd hate to see her lose that much money. This one's very different, and it's one of the only cars kids are welcome to touch. It's all about Scooby-Doo.
The body was fairly rough when we started. There was a lot of bottom parts we had to grab, just body panels. The floor was rusted in the back and that sort of thing. So it took a while for those parts to come in. But it was a lot of sanding, welding, like sandblasting, welding, and Bondo, less Bondo, block sanding, and primer and paint, and we did it in our garage with just our regular sprayer. Bought our paint at ABS Specialties in Saskatchewan.
Did you buy it like this?
No, we got it from a guy out by Asquith. Like, we're north of Saskatoon, where we're at, and he basically pulled it out of a field. He got it running and stopping, which is the main point. We drove it home basically, and then spent all summer doing the restoration on it there.
So how do you restore a Scooby-Doo van?
very carefully.
This isn't what it looked like originally, obviously.
No, it was pretty beat up. The back quarters were all rusted on it. The rockers were rusted out on it. A lot of the flooring was done. So when we brought it back home, about 2 months were spent researching, finding the parts, getting the right panels. The whole goal was to do Scooby-Doo with it. So researching the paint scheme, the design, everything that way, and then getting to it. So sandblasted the whole shell, popped in, welded in the new metal pieces, finished up the bodywork and laid the paint, all in 5 months.
This was a family affair. Both kids helped out too. Mom and Dad worked on it. And in 2020, they took it trick-or-treating during a COVID Halloween to make everybody a lot happier. Well, these kids have come here to find out not about the van, but about the set it's sitting on, because there's a trap here. Well, how's that work?
Exactly. Okay, so the first things I'm going to show you is there's a trampoline over there, which he brought from home. And there's a trunk over there, right, which totally don't belong in the Scooby Snack Factory, but you know, right. Okay, Fred, right? Okay, so Shaggy is hiding behind the wall back there. He throws the switch. This box drops. It pulls way over there. What do you see on the end of the rope way over there? Exactly, yeah. So the bad guy is going to stand on that X, and his foot's going to get stuck. Exactly, he's going to get flipped up. That pulley, super rusty, right? It's totally going to break. Guy's going to bounce onto the trampoline, flip over the van, and land where? In the truck. Exactly, and then it's going to fall backwards, slam shut, and then we see who this guy really is.
Oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. We might think this one looks like a girl's car, and you'd be right. It was built by Jason Green, but it was paid for by Caitlin Green. She also helped out with it. It is a pile of detail, right down to the saxophones on the front and back. And while it's hard to see on camera, it's not just black either. There's gloss black designs drawn on the flat black paint that shine in the light. Like many of the cars here, this one has some history too. It's actually a little video photo frame that shows it from the day the car first came home on a trailer, all the way through the process of stripping it out and then starting to rebuild the car. There's the seats that were going to end up inside it. There we have, I think, Caitlin working on getting stuff out of the car. When you talk about stripped down to the frame, well, you can't do much more than that, can you? Of course, then it's time to start rebuilding the car, and you end up with the car that we see on display at the Majestic Car Show today. It's amazing.
Well, my name's Tyler Hadley. I'm from Moose Jaw. Truck's a 61 Chevy Apache. I started as a cab on a pallet in a field. I bought another truck, a 64. It was too far gone, so I stripped it, basically used the frame underneath this one, and then built a truck. It took about 14 months. I've built them before, so I kind of know what I need and what I have to buy. Ordered a bunch of parts, threw it together, and now you see it.
Now, if you consider the truck sitting a little bit low on the ground, well, it has a Bluetooth controller on the cell phone, and it could, of course, fix that up. It goes from low to high with airbags.
Basically, that's my ride height.
That's pretty quick.
It cruises perfect. Oh yeah, it's great.
From the cell phone, you can also lower the truck back down if you want it to go back to, I guess, what you would call show heights. And there it goes back to the ground. Tyler has a 10-year-old son who just can't wait to see his dad's truck, but also his dad on YouTube. So hi there, your dad was busy at the show, but now you can see what he was doing when he was away from home. Check out the hood, there's a couple issues of Canadian Hot Rods magazine. Of course, you're into cars, that might be the magazine for you. That looks kind of familiar there, doesn't it? Well, that's, of course, this truck being profiled as what you can do when you're kind of stuck at home talking about COVID. Well, Tyler and his wife both extremely excited about the vehicle. You know, he's actually very happy because at the show he met someone who bought a vehicle from him. He loves making these. He says this is the best one he's ever done, but it certainly won't be the last one he does either. So you can expect to see more amazing vehicles coming from that young man. The car show features all sorts of food and snacks, including some of these guys. Don't they look amazing? Candy apples? Well, with worms. I guess that's the kind of apple you want to eat with a worm. Cotton candy ice cream, and of course, lots of chicken fingers and fries. A couple more cars to look at, but yet to come, we're going to check out some custom-built Lego. Make sure you stay tuned right till the end. Have you subscribed to Travels with Bill yet? We'd love to have you as a subscriber, and when you subscribe, you'll see more of our videos. Well, like this one, but we travel all over Western Canada, making sure you see some of the coolest things. So hit that subscribe button and make sure you give us a thumbs up as well. And hey, why not post a link to the car show video where you know car enthusiasts will see it? We'd love for them to see everything that happened at the Regina show.
It was originally an Oshawa of Canada show car account car.
Okay, yeah.
And the fellow bought it new out of Yorkton, brought it out here, and he was murdered.
Really?
So it ended up in Moose Jaw down the back alley there, and my buddy picked it up. It was a real basket case. They pulled it in behind a tow truck, sitting on a Coke box. Didn't have seats in it. And it was a major restoration in '82. And he had it. I picked it off him in 2006.
Oh, yeah.
So I've had it about 26 years. I've painted it twice. It's not show quality paint, but it's 20-year-old paint job.
Yeah.
So there's no surprises. What you see is what you got there.
But you're not scared to drive?
No.
No, paint looks fine.
It's a 400 Ram Air. When I bought it, I didn't know it was a W32. I didn't know what the hell that was. Well, basically what it is, it's outside air induction. See the scoops under the bumper, the double snorkel?
We'll take a peek.
I bought everything on the way to Daytona Beach, south of Kansas City. I got the dual hoses and the scoops, the chrome tips and the brackets there. It was pretty near $500. Couldn't find an air cleaner. They only made 297 W32s, but only 25 convertibles. So I sent 2 old air cleaners out to a guy at Crossfield, north of Calgary, and he put them together with a factory original double snorkel air cleaner. And there's a lid. The original orange lid was on a 400. So on these you had to chrome it with different decals. So by the time I got done, it was another $1,000.
Just another $1,000 and $1,000 after that, and well, after that too. See all the trophies of things won though? Quite an amazing car. And I love the yellow, don't you? That bright yellow, well, it kind of does something for me.
My name is Vern Travis, and I have a 41 Willys Pro Street Coupe.
Right off the showroom floor, just like this, I guess?
No, I built it from scratch, basically. It was a shell. So it's got a custom tube chassis and coilover upper and lower control arms, and coilover adjustable 4-way shocks, 4-link rear with a 9-inch and a Daytona or center section in it. And the heart of the car is a Boss 429. It's built to the specs from John Causey Racing, and it's been dynoed at 800 horsepower, backed by a TCI C6 transmission that's also rated for the horsepower.
If you're anything like me, you're kind of amazed. The idea that you can start out with something and build this as a guy at home, it blows me away, right? Look at how amazing the car is. And of course, there's lots of these at the show where guys have done so incredibly much work on them and ended up with something that never existed before, but is absolutely perfect. One of the ways you get a perfect car is a home garage, I guess, and there's one here. Except this one's made out of Lego. In fact, there's a lot of stuff made out of Lego at this show. The Saskatchewan Lego Users Group is here exhibiting as well, and they've got all sorts of things to show you. You'll notice something weird, though. You may not remember being able to buy any of these sets. Well, there's a reason for that.
My name is Ray Jacobs. I am a member of the Saskatchewan Lego Users Group. That is a club based in Saskatchewan. We are Lego hobbyists. It's just a hobby, a passion that we love to do in our free time, just because. I'm here at the Majestics Car Show, and we have a display put on by several of our members of our club, including myself. And because it's a car show, the main focus of our display today is cars, but we do many other things besides cars, including buildings and castles and spaceships and many other things.
So tell me a bit about the models on display here. I've heard a lot of people saying, gee, I don't remember being able to buy that kit. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, everything that I brought today is an original creation. It's not a store-bought set built with instructions. I prefer to make my own things because I find that a fun hobby to do. And the way I do it is I look at photographs of real vehicles and use those as reference to build my own creations. For example, these fire trucks. I went down to a fire hall, explained what I was doing, and they permitted me to take a lot of photographs of the real trucks, and I use those as reference to build these. And same with the city bus. And the movie cars, I built a bunch of movie cars. I use pictures online as reference. I started off in the hobby just making semi-trucks, and once I had built that car carrier over there, I decided to put cars on it, but they might as well be movie cars. So many of the cars that I built are movie cars, including these are all for 80s TV shows, and then I've also got Batmobiles and some from Marvel and Toy Story and Ghostbusters.
Now, of course, you recognize this one. It's the family truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation. Thankfully, there's no dead grandma strapped to the top of it, but I suppose that would be a little bit hard to model in Lego, wouldn't it?
So what I do is I buy sets, but I don't build the set. I often will buy the set just because I want the parts to make my own stuff. Another way I do it is by ordering parts online and buying and selling from friends of mine. When you buy online, you can get a specific part and lots of it when you're trying to build, large creations like this.
If someone's really into Lego, how does the Lego group work here?
We're not employees of Lego. We're just enthusiastic hobbyists, and we just do this for fun. We do several shows a year. The Majestics Car Show is just one of them. We have our own independent show in July, last weekend of July in Moose Jaw, called Brixpo. And then we also do displays at the model railroad shows and at Fan Expo, which is actually happening this weekend in Saskatoon. So some of the people from our club are here and some of them are there.
The cars on the racetrack are built from sets. The bigger cars beside it too, but that's all. And at normal Lego shows, they don't allow any of them that are actually built from a bought set. They all have to be built from scratch. The exception here is because we're at a car show, they're showing some of the bought car stuff.
I enjoy doing this. It's a nice hobby. It allows me to be creative. It allows me to, there's a lot of things involved, planning ahead and lots of trial and error. It's, it keeps your brain going, and it's just fun. Also, the people in the club, they're my friends, so we just do this for the fun of it.
Ray is a carpenter. You may have thought he was an engineer, but no, a carpenter. But consider this, if that's how his Lego models work, well, I certainly would like to see some of the houses he's been building, because I'm thinking they are off the charts amazing. This is a Regina City Bus that he made. Now, of course, you can see it drives, the doors open and close independently. That's all made by remote control. And when you steer it, if you look inside, you'll see that the steering wheel actually turns in unison with the wheels. So you can see it go there. Let's take a peek for a second. There it goes. The wheels turn and the steering wheel moves too. You may have guessed there's a lot more to tell you about the Lego than what we've done so far. Filmed a lot more of these guys, and we'll try and bring that to you on a future episode. Brixpo, though, is every year. That's worth Googling to find out when you can go to Moose Jaw and see all of these creations and meet folks like this in person. So a few more things to tell you about here as we look at just a bit of the car show. We actually filmed this in 360 virtual reality, so what you're watching here is a normal episode of Travels with Bill that's all flat screen, but we have a version of the car show where you can wear a VR headset and actually walk around in the entire show to see what you've been seeing here. I'll post a link to that down in the description too so you can see it, and hey, if you've got a VR headset, head on over to YouTube VR, put on the headset, and walk around with me as we tour through the car show. Special thanks to Majestics Car Club. They certainly were perfect hosts for us when we came out to do the filming. We were there the entire day filming this stuff and talking to many of the people. This particular episode's only showing you a peek of some of that material we filmed. You'll find much more of it on the Uncle Mark's Auto channel. There's a link to that in the description. Make sure you subscribe to it. As you see the various videos come out, you'll hear more about the cars, how they were made, how the engines work, all of the details that car people would love. Of course, I'm not necessarily the biggest car person, but I had a lot of fun here too, proving that anybody can go to a car show and enjoy themselves. As always, leave some comments down below. Why not tell us which one was your favorite car? Or maybe it was the Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Could it have been the Lego? Well, it might be my favorite of the show, but there's so much to choose from here. We also love comments on suggestions of where we should go next. We're traveling across Western Canada, looking at all sorts of interesting things, from history to geography to towns, and of course today, the Majestics Car Show. Give us some ideas, and you never know where Travels with Bill may show up. Looking to get in touch? The comment's an easy way to do that. You can also check out travelswithbill.com. For now, though, we bid you farewell from Regina, Saskatchewan, and the Majestics Car Show. 54th edition. We'll be waiting for next year with edition number 55. We'll see you along the road on Travels with Bill.